Hi there, everybody. My name is Kate de Jong from Inspired Careers International. It's lovely to be here with you today. I really wanted to do a Facebook Live video today. I really wanted to be live so I could interact with you all. However, I've been having major technology issues. I'm not sure what it is. It could be that I'm in Melbourne at the moment, normally in Perth with my high-speed internet at home, which has just been upgraded across our city. And I believe here in this apartment where I'm staying while we're travelling in Melbourne that the internet isn't so fast. So I'm going to pre-record this and share it later. But I really just wanted to get back into the routine of doing live videos, which I used to do regularly, and find them a great way to connect with everybody. Today I'm wanting to share with you my guidance on a blog post that I have shared recently on my website and on my Facebook page, which is called Open Heart, Big Fence. And it's about 5 strategies for maintaining strong and healthy boundaries in life. This was an article, I wrote it a couple of years ago, but I updated it recently because it continues to be really important for me and those that I work with. So with a lot of my coaching clients, have a lot of dreams and a big vision for what they want to do with their life and their business, and then a lot of times feel frustrated that they can't make it a reality because things keep interfering, other priorities keep coming up, and they find that their business is the last thing they get to, or the big goals that they have are the last thing that they manage to get to. And it made me realise that this article is really highly relevant because it's about setting boundaries. So it's about figuring out what is really important to you. So if you have a vision for your life or something that's really, really important to you that you want to get done, how do you set boundaries around that to make sure that you get it done? Now, boundaries can be for simple things, as in just protecting your basic normal physiological needs. So we all need to sleep a certain amount. It's about knowing what's right for you and what you need in order to be emotionally healthy, balanced and happy. It could be boundaries around protecting your sleep, the amount of sleep that you get. It could be around the time that you need for relaxation. If you know that you feel best when you get a massage once every week or 2 weeks or a month, it's about scheduling that in and not letting anything interfere with it. It could be boundaries around your exercise, not letting anything interfere with the things that you know you need to feel fit and healthy. It could be around boundaries you have around the things you're prepared to eat or not. And then boundaries can also be necessary around more complex things, like maybe strained relationships. So if you have a particular difficult dynamic with someone, it's about protecting your own emotional sanity by setting boundaries around how much time you're going to interact with that person, or in what manner you're going to interact with that person. So this article that I wrote was actually triggered by strained relationships within my family, which I think all families have, right? I mean, if you don't have strained relationships in your family, I consider you very lucky. I think most of us have, some kind of complex dynamics that go on in our families, and this article was inspired by that in my family. And so I urge you to read my blog article to get a better understanding of what I'm talking about. But today I wanted to give an overview of the 5 strategies that I consider are really important in protecting your own personal boundaries. And so I've put together some slides that I wanted to share with you. And so I'm going to do that now. So yeah, as I said, we're talking about 5 strategies for maintaining strong and healthy boundaries. Things that you need to put in place to stay your happy, wonderful self. Now, I'm talking about this from personal experience of spending the first 35 years of my life without having much idea of my own personal boundaries. I really didn't feel that that I was worthy enough to put my own needs first, because essentially that's what it's about. It's about figuring out what do you need to stay healthy, happy and well, and taking a stand for that and not letting anything else interfere with it. And I didn't have the courage to do that. I was so disconnected from myself, in fact, that I didn't actually know what I needed. I was very willing and prepared to let everybody else's needs dictate what I was doing. I know that some people are good at setting boundaries. I had colleagues who were very good at fiercely protecting their boundaries, and I was always really envious of how they were able to do that, because it was just something that I wasn't able to do. So I've had to learn the hard way. And this is what I've come up with in terms of 5 strategies that I think will really help you. So, sorry, just move to the next slide. Firstly, let's just define what are personal boundaries. So they're guidelines, rules, or limits that you create to identify reasonable, safe, and permissible ways for other people to behave towards you, and how you will respond when someone passes those limits. So it's really something that you need to get clear on yourself, and then have the courage to take a stand for that. Now, number 1, my recommendation is, firstly, as I said, know your limits. What is it that you need to stay emotionally happy, sane, and healthy? If there are certain situations that you know are likely to knock you off center, or to send you into a spin, or make your heart beat faster than it needs to, what are the limits that you need around that in order to protect yourself? So I know that in my family, in a lot of situations, I was always trying to fix things. So if there was tension, for example, I would feel it was my responsibility to really fix that and try and get to the bottom of it and make it all better. And it wasn't until after lots of therapy in my 30s I realised that I actually, instead of trying to fix everything and force it to be better, it was a process for me of learning to accept that some situations are as they are. And rather than bending over backwards to try and make everyone else feel better, I needed to accept that the situation was as it was, and then set some really healthy boundaries around that, so that I no longer got really knocked off center and swept away by the whole strain of it all. So for me, it was learning to know, what can I manage in this relationship? What are the things that I'm prepared to do and the things that I'm not prepared to do, and how much time am I willing to spend, and in what kind of situations am I willing to put myself. So for me, one big boundary was that when we had big family gatherings, that I would no longer share living accommodation with the strained relationship people. So before, I was willing to put myself in those situations where it would be very strange for the sake of trying to make it better. And now I've got to a place of accepting that that's how it is, and just setting some clear boundaries around what I'm willing and not willing to accept in that situation. So know your limits. Number 2, make self-care your priority. And I can't emphasize this enough, because this was something I was really bad at. I would always put my self-care way, way down the bottom of the pile in terms of important on the list of importance. Now I'm practicing it, getting a little bit better, but you must know, what are the things that you need? How much exercise do you need a week? How much sleep? What are the things that nourish and feed you emotionally? Is it massage? Is it meditation? Is it yoga? Is it swimming? Is it dinner with friends? Is it going to the movies? Is it sitting out in nature? Is it, whatever it is, do those things and set really clear boundaries around them. If you've already, in fact, get those things scheduled into your diary, and then people can't book on top of them. But you need to make your self-care a priority. Number 3 is be assertive, which means communicate your boundaries clearly and lovingly. Don't assume that people know what your boundaries are. You need to tell people what your boundaries are, and be assertive about it in a friendly and caring way. If they suggest, how about we do this? You say, oh, really sorry, I would love to, but I actually can't because of X, Y, Z, but I could do this time. So be assertive. You're allowed to take a stand for yourself. You're allowed to set healthy boundaries. You're supposed to. And the more confidence you develop over time, the more you'll be able to be assertive. Don't expect that people are mind readers. They're not. We need to tell them exactly what our boundaries are so that they can meet them respectfully. And I have found in my own personal experience that when I have the courage to boldly take a stand for my boundaries, other people are more than willing to adjust, and they actually are grateful to you for doing that, because it saves all kinds of stressful situations. Number 4, practice makes perfect. So this is something I'm still not perfect at it by any long shot. So it's something you have to practice over and over again. Having the confidence to take a stand for your boundaries, experience the discomfort that you might feel when you get a negative response, but just learn to stand in your power and keep practicing. It does get easier with time. And it's just a skill that we need to master by practicing over and over. Number 5, a good way to prepare yourself if you're going into a situation that you know is going to be a strain for you is to ground and protect yourself beforehand. So grounding could be as simple as taking a few deep breaths and imagining, as you breathe into your belly, a big beam of light going all the way from the top of your head all the way down through your body and connecting all the way down into the center of the earth through the soles of your feet and breathing it back up again. It's about feeling really grounded into the earth and grounded into your physical space, so that whatever happens around you, you're going to be less blown around by it energetically and emotionally. Protective strategies might be imagining that you're breathing in a protective light and you're filling yourself up and surrounding yourself with it. And one that I like to use is imagining that I'm sitting in a bubble of little protective mirrors, thousands of little protective mirrors that deflect negative energy, and I'm sitting grounded and protected in this beautiful bubble that only allows positive energy in. And that way I can stay centered. And it's about being intentional about taking a stand for you and your needs and being okay with that, even if it risks disappointing other people. So there's a great quote by Brené Brown that says, boundaries is about having the courage to love yourself even when you risk disappointing other people. So it can feel very uncomfortable if we take a stand for what we need, particularly if we're used to people pleasing and doing everything to bend over backwards for others. But the discomfort will get easier with time the more you practice. So I hope this has been helpful for you. I really, I personally have struggled with it a lot, so I hope these tips have helped you, and I look forward to hearing from you. Please check out the blog post, because inside my blog I obviously give more detail on these 5 strategies. I also have my personal guide, my very new Ultimate Guide to Living Your Truth workbook, which is fresh off the press. I'd love you to have to get your hands on a copy, because it's everything I've come to learn about living your personal truth. I put it all into a workbook. I felt really inspired and called to write this, and it just kind of came out by itself. So I believe it's going to help you too. I really hope it does. So please do download a copy and let me know what you think. Please reach out anytime. I love hearing from you. Thank you so much, and until next time, bye for now.